Hey there, everybody. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the most important elements that you need to consider when you're thinking about building a brand and creating a brand message. Now, this is extremely important when you're trying to engage with customers and clients using digital marketing. So in this video, I'm going to give you the most important things that you need to consider when you're creating content, creating offers, creating ads, doing any kind of digital marketing. It's important to consider these things. So let's jump into today's video. My name is Brandon Brashears. I create daily marketing videos here. So if you're looking to grow your brand or your business with digital marketing, be sure to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button if you like the video. And if you ever have any questions, comments, or would like me to cover any topic in a video, be sure to comment down below. So branding is extremely important. The way that I like to think about branding, and one of the people that I actually saw at War Room Conference was Burnt Ullman, and I got his book there, and it is extremely interesting. Brands are one of the most valuable assets that you can develop. Now, I'm a direct response marketer, and typically I'm always trying to drive specific actions, and so I'm not somebody who's typically working on branding campaigns or brand awareness campaigns, but that doesn't mean that branding isn't important, especially if you're doing direct response digital marketing. And in fact, the more developed brand that you have, I've seen this over and over again in terms of content engagement and an audience that you've built up, it makes your cost per action far lower. So it's very, very important to understand a few elements when you're developing your brand and your brand message. Now, one thing that I think is very, very important is understanding what your brand is going to stand for. And I think that's the first key element that you really need to understand. What are you for? What is it that is important to your business? Is it loyalty? Is it performance? Is it quality? Is it price? Is it service? What is it that your brand is going to deliver on? Ultimately, anytime you make an offer from your company or from your brand, that is the promise that you're offering up to your clients and your customers. So what do you want that to be? What do you want to be known for? And when you can nail down exactly what it is that you want to be known for, and I would suggest working on a few really key elements on things that you can actually deliver on. And these need to be things that are constant. You cannot falter with this. You can't build brands that have equity, that people are, they know what it means to do business with you and your company if you drop the ball. If you're going to be quality customer service and you have a bad day and you offer terrible customer service, it's unacceptable. So you need to have things that need to be absolutes. And that's really hard, but that's what it takes to become a brand known for something. So understanding what it is that you stand for. And the second element I think that's important is you need to understand what it is that you stand against as well. So being for something can sometimes be, kind of difficult, but it's pretty easy to understand what you don't want to be. So what are the things that you don't want to be, that you don't want to have associated with your brand? Is it discounting or cheap prices or poor quality? What is it that you're standing against, and how can you turn that into a mission? So you and your customer against a common enemy. And having a common enemy that is your mission to eradicate that common enemy is actually a very powerful message, and it helps you to get really effective in the marketing that you're doing. Now, the third element that is very, very important for branding is consistency. You have to be consistent. I want you to think about the most impactful relationships you've had with people. And brands and people are pretty similar because, you're going to eventually build up somebody to know, like, and trust your brand if you're consistent enough. If, for example, you had a father who was around once a year and he showed up and he said, I'm getting my quality time in, I'm going to do my one time this year, and then I'll see you later. Chances are you probably wouldn't have too many fond memories of that man, and he just wouldn't be even considered a father figure. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a father in your brand, but you understand the point that it takes time and consistency to be known, liked, and trusted. And so showing up consistently helps your brand to not only seem like you're going to stick around for a long time, but that you're there and you're the go-to person. If you think about anybody in a field, let's say you think about a dentist. Is there somebody who on social media is always the dentist that you think about, or somebody that's always the veterinarian that you think about, or somebody that's always the realtor or loan person? if you think about these people that have kind of created caricatures of themselves in terms of who they are, what they do, what they're about, what they're passionate about, and without a doubt what it is that they do and who they serve, it's typically because of consistency. So understanding that consistency is so important is, I think, one of the biggest battles. It's easy to start and to get going with content or anything in general, but keeping that consistency is what's going to separate you from the other brands and really help to solidify you as the best provider. People will look to you for the content that you put out, the offers that you put out, or whatever it is that you're offering if you're consistent. And so consistency is, I think, extremely underrated and extremely important. The next thing that I think is extremely important is the medium in which you're putting out content. So you need to pick something, I think, that people will immediately know and associate with your brand. And so whether it's videos or whether it's blog posts or whether it's pictures, whatever it is, having a consistent brand message across mediums that are consistent help to build up that consistency and help you to get known when it comes to digital marketing. So understanding that the medium is very important. How are you going to create this content? How are you going to distribute the content and the offers? And creating the most effective, consistent ways to do that is going to depend on your skill set, the time that you have to deploy these things. And obviously it's okay to change things up and add things, but making sure that you're consistent with the medium that you're using. So we have, number one, we have what you stand for, what you stand against. We have consistency, we have medium, and then the next thing are going to be messaging, which is going to wrap up a lot of these big important things and these general concepts, right? So you're going to need to know what you stand for, what you stand against, and really what kind of tone you're going to use, what kind of personality you're going to have, and make sure that it's very, very consistent. When I think about brands that are for a long time and have been going for a long time and are successful in attracting people to their business, they typically have a pretty consistent and authentic voice. If you think about people like Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, he's always used profanity in his videos and things. That's not my style, so if I was to go and have that kind of messaging just for like the shock value and pattern interrupt, it wouldn't be authentic. And it would probably just come across as being vulgar for no reason, right? So making sure that you are going to create a message that is authentic to your brand, that's in line with what you stand for and what you stand against, and really helpful to make sure that you are conveying what you need to convey to your audience and helping to understand what's in it for them and why that's important to them. So make sure that your messaging is consistent as well. If you're going to use informal language and informal greetings and like profanity or whatever, that's cool, but make sure that you're intentional about it. Like certain people, depends on the industry, a lot of times they try to be overly professional and it's not necessarily authentic, and what ends up happening is that it typically ends up being really boring. So you don't necessarily want to just do something to try to promote a brand style that you have built up in your mind. You need to be authentic in terms of who you are, what it is that you're offering, and you can be a premium provider of something that's expensive, and you don't necessarily have to wear a suit and tie all the time. Some of the best marketers that I can think of, like Frank Kern, for example, he's super laid back and super relaxed. He's not always wearing a suit and tie, but his masterminds are extremely expensive. And so you're able to sell product, I think, a lot more effectively if you're going to be authentic to what it is that you are and who you are, instead of trying to, become a character that you think is going to respond well with your audience. So listen, I hope that this was helpful. If you ever have any questions, comments, or you need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And again, if you ever need help with any of your digital marketing, be sure to comment down below. Happy to help out. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Have a great day. See you on the next video.